match towards their side. But considering how well they started off their season, the top of Group B in Japan League, but how far greats do fall when it hit the playoffs. They fell down in Q. Now that we're in it, they've got to deliver, and there are no second chances. A BO1 to determine their fate, to get knocked out or to go and play the winner of the upcoming game, Fnatic and Varel. As we get into the operator veto.
Last chance qualifiers are always so exciting. I love the fact that we're able to introduce teams from the tier 2 and tier 3 scene, and they get their chance in the limelight to be able to show off what they can do. And I think that just the unknown factor, the wildcard, is so exciting to watch. Going straight into the ban phase, of course, Ying and Nook, the first two being taken out. Interesting bans, I think, for Nook. Yeah, you just don't want to have to deal with that lurker, especially starting out on the defense, and Ying as well. Kenzel's can be quite pesky, and taking that out is pretty good against Japanese teams because we see a lot of attacks lead into that style.
Yeah, and for me, the big one that I'm always looking at on Cafe is this Azami. If Azami stays in, Cafe is like a different map, right?
Exactly, we've spoken about it before.
Yeah, you make Piano just such a headache. Solus also super strong, super able on the defense. It's quite hard to get your drones in really good positions on the map on Cafe just because it's 3 floors and there's no real easy ways to get it in. On the upper floors, from the ground floor, you've got to go up some choke point staircases, so it's already hard enough to do a lot of good drone work on Cafe, and Solus makes it even more difficult. But it does leave in the mirror, which I wonder if we'll see later.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Solus has really shaken up the meta quite a lot, and like you said, especially on Cafe, it's one of those maps that to get your drone in the building, you have to go in from the ground floor, so for Solus to be able to entry deny some of the drones, it's fairly easy to do, and so taking that out I think makes a lot of sense. Even though Quintet are starting out on the defense, it would indicate to me that they're leaning into a more anchor-centric kind of style going into this setup. They're going to play a little bit closer to the site, especially with the Azami being banned out as well. You can't really extend to the rooms adjacent to the bomb site, and so it would indicate to me that like backstore, your cocktails are going to be your major power positions.
Looks like we only have one shield here on the defensive side. Often you will see like one pixel and one in backstore. Just the one pixel, and it looks like backstore is fully reinforced off. So a lot less angles to peek into Piano, a bit of a less aggressive hold compared to what we have seen in recent times. But I love this Capitao pick from Marvi on IGZIST. I really love Capitao, and his gun's got a buff with that extended barrel now increasing damage, so it's actually 2-hit body shot with that the para. So love to see what Marvi can achieve, not just with the gun, of course, but with the smokes and the incendiary bolts.
And here we go, straight into this cocktail side attack. I think like you have indicated already, the use of the Capitao is going to enable them to try and clear these power positions just from the rappel. Not only that, but they've also got 2 sets of nades and the line to try and lock some of these defenders in place as they go for a more utility type clear of this side of the map.
Does feel very telegraphed though. Oh, but that's a big pick. Really nice one from the Mozzie. Salty goes down here on the snow balcony. That's your lion down. So not imperative util, but pretty devastating pick nonetheless for this attack.
I'm actually going to pivot across to this the skylight as well. It's just starting out here on the cocktail to see what picks they're able to find, and Verbot is able to at least claim one back, and the trades have gone back and forth. Still man advantage for Quintet though, as they're able to claw one yet another once that cocktail repel.
Big plays from the Mozzie. Now I'm going to give it a crack. I'm going to try and say this Japanese name. Inuyasha? Does that sound... We okay with that, Mandy?
Yeah, okay, we're okay with that.
Inuyasha? Alright.
Yeah.
Judging by the lineup that I had seen, Inuyasha is not actually on it, at least not spelt that way, but he's found 3 now, so we're going to be saying a lot of his name. Massive start here from Quintet. They do retain that man advantage despite IGZIST finding 2 picks of their own.
Yeah, I think IGZIST not being cautious enough there playing the repels has allowed Inuyasha to be able to claim a lot of those picks from just running out of windows, peeking through doorways. But look at this. This is where we start to see the Capitao come into play. 2 smokes on the long bar is going to lock out that player behind backstore and force him to actually make a rotation through. But Marvi hasn't seen him yet.
I think he's read into it though, read into the position. And Inuyasha looking for a 4th now is going to find it. What a massive round. Now to try and lock in the ace. C4 over the top at Pixel. I know exactly where Shifty is. Hiding around. Moving now towards Timber. Nexus is here, ready and waiting. Does deny the ace, but locks in the round for Quintet. A massive start here for the underdogs.
Massive work from Inuyasha as well, just immediately getting on that contest of the repels, trying to find what he could to punish the mistakes of IGZIST, who weren't being cautious enough about dealing with him, right? When you get on that south repel, it's always so scary to play because you can get run out from on Garage, for example, just not having a player there being ready for it or not having a drone to be able to call it. Same thing with the cocktail players as well. As soon as the player on the ground or on the balcony had tied, it left the players on the actual repel itself vulnerable to that run out, and Inuyasha was just there to take individual 1v1s and really make that round his own.
So Mandy, I'm doing some more research here. So the lineup that is listed, right, is the 4 players underneath Inuyasha, and then Nagase, Nagase. I think that's probably Inuyasha. He just spelled his name weird way. What do you reckon? You want to take a gamble?
Maybe. Do they have subs?
I'm checking. I'll check that.
Okay. Because that feels like a bit of a stretch.
Really?
Like that feels like... I think so. Maybe it's not.
They have a coach and an analyst. The coach is Squad and the analyst is Awoy.
Okay. So maybe it is.
I don't know. Who knows?
But then how do we say it?
I don't know. It has an N at the start, which is why I wonder if it's like Nagase, just a weird way of spelling. I'll continue to delve into the research as we continue to observe.
Alright, I'll let you cook. That's fine. We're gonna go over to reading in 5 places the next bomb site of choice, and once again IGZIST starting out on this eastern side of the map, looking to get the cocktail repels down nice and early and try and pressure out the players on the top floor.
Yeah, top clear is always good on the docket here for the attacking side, but it can be very difficult if you're not diligent at clearing these positions. Also quite vulnerable to C4s. Now we have 2 on the defensive lineup, and that Valkyrie to deliver the necessary information. So it would be very dangerous. Play a bit of a game of the floor is lava if you're on IGZIST. At the moment, it's just a repel game, droning out these positions, making sure they're not vulnerable to run-outs before they can set foot in that building.
Oh, Valkyrie, that's a big thing. I hadn't even considered that when we went through the ban phase. Yeah, Valkyrie has absolutely has slipped through that one, and I think will be pretty challenging, especially for IGZIST, who have a much more slow playstyle, I think, compared to most of their counterparts here in the Japan League. And so, as they make their way in through the top floor, it's going to be extra diligent droning, right? Not only do you want to drone out the players, but you're also looking in the corner of every room to see if there's a Valkyrie camera there too. So, IGZIST have got to be careful here to evade those C4s, like you said.
So Nexus is still holding that position. Did he actually detonate his C4 yet? I can't quite tell. I think, yeah, I understand. But good start there for V-Board. Upstairs does take down Ant. And starting to continue making this headway on the top floor. Doesn't look like there's any... Oh, there actually is one defender still in Cocktail, but just near the hatch. Who is that? Oh, there you go. It's Inuyasha. Does drop there down into the laundry hatch. So that's full top floor control succeeded now to IGZIST.
Really good work from IGZIST as well. They made their way through the soft part of the floor super quick too. You could see the moment that they repelled inside of that piano position, they immediately wanted to put themselves on that marble floor to protect themselves. That being said, I may have cursed them as Marby tries to go for that vertical play with the sledge. He gets C4'd out himself. With only 35 seconds left in the round, vertical still going down, will vacate that reading position, but they'll still have to convert to an execute.
Well, this is looking very difficult now. Goki started to find his way back upstairs. I don't think anyone from IGZIST is watching, and this should be a freebie. That's one down, and the retake as well from Akusu. Still holding this line upstairs, but the attackers are dropping like flies. It's all up to V-Bort. He started the round with the opening pick, but he is the final death for his team. 2 rounds in a row here for Quintet. Sets them off to a very nice start.
Unfortunately for IGZIST, time is the enemy. Especially when you're on the attack, time really is against you, and taking a lot to clear through that top floor, a lot of resource, especially with the drone work. it just didn't leave them enough time through the mid-round to be able to drone out all the adjacent rooms to the site. Keep in mind that Reading and Fireplace is very vulnerable to vertical gameplay, and as a result, we saw those quintet plays try and take the adjacent rooms, playing the hallway, underneath pillars and hell and that kind of thing instead, which makes a lot of sense. And if you get through that mid-round to late round phase and you haven't had a chance to contest horizontally on the map, it's going to leave the defenders very able to play that retake and be able to shut down the execute as it comes through.
Yeah, not a great start here for IGZIST, who are clearly the favoured team, but they were starting by, on most people's accounts, the unfavoured side. I still think that this is an excellent start for Quintet, even once you take into account that perhaps this map will end up defensive favoured. But the army is out, right? You shouldn't expect this to just be a really dominant attack half, dominant defensive half, when some of the tools of the trade have been eliminated. I've done a little bit more research, Mandy.
All right,
so,
how are we gone?
So we've got confirmation that the submitted roster does have Nagase on it. So we have to assume Inuyasha is Nagase, which is, my understanding, a Japanese surname. So maybe Inuyasha is like a given name?
Perhaps. So what does that mean for us?
Do we say Inuyasha? Do we say Nagase?
Yeah.
I think Nagase is easier to say, to be
honest. Okay, let's go with that. I'm happy with that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, we are going to confuse everyone who is just joining the stream and is seeing the player name rather than the story, the backstory to go with it.
All you need to know is that legion, that name is pronounced Nagase. That's all you need to know.
There we go. Okay, clear of the top floor. Once again, double soft reach for IGZIST would indicate to me that they do, in fact, want to play the vertical eventually. But what that means is they need to clear out all the roamers on both the top floor and the second floor as well. Taking their time to drone it out. Oh, actually, the bomb site is the second floor. Oh, we haven't even spoken about that yet, Dev. Yeah. The bomb site is mining. Oh, okay, well, there we go. Vabort on one of the rappels is able to collect the life of Goki, who I think got a little bit over-aggressive. Oh, and a second player in pillars as well on this new balcony rappel. And now with that buck in hand, can start to make his way in off the back of Rira, cleaning up the final roamer inside of Cocktail. And they can start to cut down on the last two defenders left, who have got to go for the heroic play.
Yeah, Ant's going to be desperate about it. Does find a nice headshot, though. That might bring something back. Looking for a second now. Does see the player, gets the down. Harvey is on the ground. A nice little smack on that prepped castle barricade. An easy delivery of the final blow to finish off Marvi. It's going to have to be an ace, Mandy. He's all alone. He's shut out of that bomb site. Going to have to be a lucky pre-fire through a wall to make this possible, as Salty has got him on lockdown. There's a player in pillars as well. Is this going to have to be some nutty shots? Get this back into the realm of possibility. You can see IGZIST playing it nice and safely. And there you go, they do find him. He's going to drop down straight into their waiting arms. And Mandy, you mentioned that it was a nice idea going for mining. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out.
No, unfortunately not. I think that, look, it didn't even come down to the macro strategy in the end. I think it was just playing, just being a little bit undisciplined, I think, in that top floor. Realizing that Vabort was on that new balcony rappel can cover quite a lot of that long bar position. Not only that, but he has very quick access to the exit door facing into pillars as well. So having two defenders stick their heads into that doorway, into that window, is not an ideal way to lose two players right at the beginning of the round. And then Rare making a successful entry as well, really doubled down on, unfortunately, IGZIST getting a massive headway early into the rounds. From there, it's always really hard to come back from. You're at a man disadvantage. There are attackers everywhere, and what can you do?
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to say, great start from Vbort on IGZIST.
Yeah.
Already 2 opening kills, 5 and 2, topping the scoreboard, living the life on the buck, and now given the license to play Amaru. We might be in for a real treat here. No, I'm getting debated. I got debated. Never mind. No, I didn't say anything.
Interesting though, so IGZIST seem to be willing to play the utility clear game. We've seen the Flores come through, as well as a lot of explosives in their hands. Flashbangs for burn as well. That's 3 sets of flashbangs, so they're going to have plenty of what they need to be able to fight the Wamai and Jaeger combination of Quintet, but it's going to require some coordination, of course, as those ADSs do become active once again after a few seconds. Early control down bot white, I think, is a good plan for IGZIST, because if they want to be on that white rappel, they don't want to be dying to someone that is peeking outside of that garage door, which is something that's happened to them beforehand, right? So great position so far from Salty to prepare for the next step.
Yeah, I like the fact that they, instead of just having a drone watch it, like they're actually actively trying to bait someone into going for it so they can get the kill. I think that's a really nice way to open up the door for an opening kill.
Position inside of Pixel will be the next point of contest for IGZIST as they get on these repels themselves. Got the Nomad in hand as well, so it's going to prevent any of the runouts coming from inside of the floor below, from dining, from mining, and from train. Rura with the Zofia in hand is going to have to wait for the call out of his teammates, the one with the flashbangs in his hands, before sending through that explosive. In fact, I don't think there's actually a shield there anymore in the top down that we've seen. I think it's fully cleared. It's just a player there.
But still holding on. And with Nagase taking down Shifty, that is getting a little bit awkward now for IGZIST on this attacking side. Don't have to worry about getting peeked from Garage. If you're getting peeked from the white window itself, Nagase with another one here on the Warden. Doing the Lord's work here inside of Washrooms with that 1.5 times scope. Ant's shown he can get quite a few headshots in the last 2 rounds, and he continues to find more. Now just a 2v5 for V-Bot and Salty. Very awkward positions. Not a lot of hope of making this one work.
Yeah, the Warden is so lethal in that position. In fact, the shield was not in Pixel, it was in Washrooms, like you said. And with that 1.5 times, just being able to bob up and down behind the shield and actually challenge the windows directly. The confidence that Nagase has got in this server is completely unmatched by any of the players on IGZIST so far. 4 rounds on the trot, we've seen him be effective. Taking this one-on-one duel, he's absolutely feeling it against Babort, who is still the top fragger, of course, on the side of IGZIST, will be smoked out of his position. It's been really tough for IGZIST so far to get a crack on in the server on this attacking side. It just really feels like Quintet have had a gripe on this server for the entire series so far.
Yeah. Nagase continues to peak with such confidence as well. Let's have a look at the way he goes with these quick peeks and sprays. A bit more damage piece by piece. Finally, V-Ball matches him in the kills and bests him in the fight. Need to make some headway though, 15 seconds to go in the 2 versus 4, and Salty's going to have to find something to support his teammate. He does just that. Maybe there is a chance here. As the plant can start to go down, is there denial from QT? The cover is perfect from Salty. And now Goki's got a clutch in the 1v1. V-Bot, low HP, but he has the info, it doesn't matter. Bit close for comfort for Quintet, but Goki can deliver in the 1v2 and save his team the round.
You gotta give it to them, alright? They were like, yeah, we're up so many people, we can get a little bit excited, can't we? And I think all of them followed in the footsteps of Nagase and were like, take the ones, fight them. And even though it brought them a little bit close to a round loss there, thankfully the remaining 2 anchors of Quintet are able to clean that one out. I really liked what Nexus did through the mid-round there. He actually moved his shield, the one shield he had from Washroom to Backstore, about halfway through that round because they didn't have control of Piano, and I think I like that. I think it means that you've got your shotgun player. It's a little bit closer to being able to deny that like default plan. You're in a like play the shotgun around the corner of the doorway and that kind of thing. I think it's a nice little adaptation for them to be able to make. And yeah, I think so far just impressive from Quintet, especially from Nagase, to really open up the early rounds against IGZIST, who, no matter what they do, no matter how cautiously they play, they just seem to have one player in their face taking them down every single round.
And as soon as you're having a good day, it can turn the tide of a match. This is a BO1 after all. Everyone talks about how volatile these best of 1 matches are, Mandy. The last time these teams played it was a BO3, and Quintet did win, but Cafe was the map that IGZIST won in that BO3. And already, Quintet have more rounds in this game at Cafe 8 than they did last time these 2 teams played Cafe. It was a 7-2 for IGZIST last time. Quintet already bringing the fire on their defensive side. The score is 3-1. IGZIST have taken a tactical timeout. And we're left with a lot of questions about what this means for the, on paper, highly favored team in this match.
I'm starting to feel like my 7-5 thing isn't all that bad now, you know? I feel
For
like I gave them enough credit. Well, listen, I said
team?
it was for IGZIST, but listen, and then you were like, oh, could Quintet really get 5 rounds? They got 3 already, so feeling pretty good about my prediction there so far. They're doing pretty good, but my prediction could be completely wrong if IGZIST do not fight them at all, which kind of doesn't seem like the case so far. It just feels like the round is won and done in the early round, right? We never get to a point, except for the 1 round that IGZIST actually won, where we get to the mid rounds or to the late round, and it feels like IGZIST have like a grip of the server, right? It just feels like Quintet are so good at the early round, whether it's actually getting the entry all wasting so much time that IGZIST don't know what to do come later into the rounds that it just feels like there is not a single foot in the building on the side of IGZIST on the attack.
And well, Quintet have shown a lot of prevalence on these top floor, upper floor bomb sites, right? They haven't even gone once down to kitchen and dining. And we're seeing them now go back to reading, which they did previously win. And I'm a little bit curious as to what's the go with that garage run out. I don't know if you saw, but the Frost was making like a, we can see it now, full runnable breach in garage. Really confused as to what the purpose of that is. IGZIST obviously just walking straight past it.
I actually kind of like that. It means that if there are any players on the rappel of that dining room itself, or even on the south hallway, which is what IGZIST have done quite literally every single round, a player doesn't need a peek from the garage door. They actually have a rotation hole to run out from and be a little bit wider on their peak. And I think as a result, it's just so much an added layer that the player on that south rappel has got to worry about. That rappel itself is already really finicky to play, and it's quite dangerous in itself, and so having an extra thing that you have to worry about where a defender can be, and then having to make that challenge of a more wide swing can be really off-putting.
Ironically, I think a lot of IGZIST actually put their drones just around the corner from that rotate hole, so maybe if Akusu had been more on the ball, could have actually run out right at the start of action phase and shot a couple drones. But maybe that's something to VOD review later and incorporate. Very risky, but for now, IGZIST droning out this top floor, of course an extended setup as the bomb site is down and reading. Starting to spot a lot of these players, a lot of these are Rooney gates.
Yeah, player inside of Pixel is a little wary that the entry is starting to come through. But in fact, the main shield that is contesting this is the one inside of Backstore. That's facing where Verbort is just about to swing around the corner. He can't go too wide here, otherwise there is a player that will see him. Now we've got Rero, who's found a blind spot to that shield by rappelling in through the other window by the stage, and is now able to use these lines of sight to himself.
Oh, hello!
Oh!
Akusu just jumps straight out the cocktail window and takes down Sifty. There's no Claymore to meet him as well. While this is some good top floor control now, and Akusu is caught out, IGZIST have seemingly found some headway in this attack. They've got the advantage.
Alright, Quintet, don't get too excited here, okay? Flying out of windows, that's not cool. Especially the attack is there to meet you. IGZIST have one more player to claim on that top floor, who is inside of that C3 position. It is Nexus, who's able to collect one and fall off for himself, evening up the man count. Flashbangs to come through to try and aid the push through Cocktail, but it's a little bit too late as that player's already fallen back to the site.
Yeah, now there is some vert capability here for the attacking side, but as you said, it may well be too little too late. Have a look at that timer, less than 30 seconds left. What are IGZIST going to do?
Time is the enemy. Vertical gameplay is what is their choice to go for to try and formulate this execute. I like Salty's position here, is being able to cut off those players inside of reading. Nice entry from Marvi as well to open up the bomb site. Bomb in hand as well. Diffuser on the ground as Salty is going to try and clean up the final two defenders.
Has found one, but traded back immediately. It's a 1 versus 1, Mandy. Goki is going to need to retake this position. Marvi just holding on with that commando, does a lot of damage. That gun really packs a punch. So Goki is going to need to land the headshot, and he finds it. A quick peek and a clean tap. And that's all that's needed now. Checking for claymores, doing his due diligence. And QT are up 4-1, Mandy. They are making fools out of IGZIST.
Goki seems to be all reliable there in the 1 versus 1s at the end, isn't he? It was last time on the top floor as well. It was him that was playing the Almighty to win out the 1v1 when the rest of his team fell as well and get the bomb diffuser down, right? So Goki, he's there when the rest of the team falls, and he's got not 1 but 2 clutches so far in this series on the defending half, completely stealing away the rounds from IGZIST. I mean, just think about it, right? If those 1-to-1s had gone the way of IGZIST, we'd be at an even scoreline right now. It would be like, oh, no, it wouldn't be even actually. It would be 3-2, right? If Goki hadn't won those 2 rounds for himself in 1 versus 1, so massive plays, massive impact plays from him in the series so far.
Enormous sets of 1v1s, but also like there were 1v2s, both of those.
Yeah.
IGZIST really need to be ultra cautious because they are letting these leads slip. And they're 3 rounds trailing now on QT. This is so scary, Mandy. What do you do if you IGZIST from here on out? You can maybe put part of it down to, oh, you know, we've got more confidence when we switch onto our attack. But a 5-1 could well be on the cards here. And the only shining light for IGZIST is now QT have bar and reading locked. So they have to go to a different bomb site. And the last time they chose reading, IGZIST demolished them. So maybe we're looking at a 4-2 here, and IGZIST can get back on the horse before the second half.
Yeah, I think a big thing about ending up in those clutch situations, like, yes, look, when it comes down to a 1 versus 1, it happens. You're not going to win every 1 versus 1. But the idea is that you don't want to be in that situation in the first place if you IGZIST, right? You want to be in a situation where, in the push that you do, you have redundancy, whether it's redundancy in players or in time, especially in players, is something that IGZIST always seem to lack because they take a lot of very early round engagements. Salty's been able to claim the first onto Nagase. I have absolutely no idea where that one came from. I assume it was just from that double window repel. Oh, there we go. Tiny little punch hole to claim that player inside of pillars. NS as well to come out in the chat. Respectable.
I love that. Mutual respect. Nagase has had a couple of big rounds, but so a couple of quick exits. That one's going to be quite frustrating for the rest of his team, and for him, I'm sure. Playing on the bomb site that they struggled to defend last time now with the player down. Going to be quite uncomfortable here, and I think IGZIST are doing well, looking for this 4-2 half.
I'm also liking that IGZIST are consistently bringing along that IQ as well. Valkyrie, I think, would be very frustrating to play against, especially with how slow they've been on the attack too. So just expediting the clears of each room, making sure there's no one that can see you with the IQ is a good option for them. Salty's gone for 2, able to make the entry inside of Cocktail and might be able to claim 3, but Goki is there for the trade.
Good play to take down the Yana as well. So late round information can be gathered. Oh, Rera! Very lucky to have survived that. His teammate was just covering him, and now it's all on Goki. We've seen him clutch twice before, but not in a 1v4. Concussed now, his position revealed. He tries to make a rotation, and IGZIST know that that bomb site is fully clear. A lovely nade from outside the white window. This is going to be a long one here, and we'll get to see it on the kill cam. Great way to close the round there for IGZIST, and of course the half, 4-2.
Oh, poor Goki. He's probably sitting there going, not again. Guys, it's been like 4 rounds now. You put me in this position. Unfortunately, not able to deliver on the 6th round, but 4 rounds on the trot QT is not bad at all. Not bad, especially against a team of a caliber like IGZIST, who have been so good through the group stage of the Japan League. Now losing out so much to what is a very unknown quantity of Quintet. It's pretty exciting stuff there. I really love these last chance qualifiers because we get to see teams that we never get to get excited about in any other day, but now we can.
Yeah, I'm very much on the same boat. I'm super keen to see teams like this really give IGZIST a fight. And a lot of people would say, wow, it's a BO1, you know, it's such a volatile format. I think that's good, right? Like, these teams need to show that they can deliver even in these incredibly high pressure formats. You know, of course, later in the bracket, we go into BO3s, when the major spot is actually on the line. But for now, it's elimination or progression, the 2 pathways. And I think a BO1 is perfect for that. We have a lot of games that these teams have to play, and they can't afford to make any mistakes. And IGZIST, they've already been afforded second chances. The fact that they're even here in the LCQ is a second chance. They bailed out of the knockout stage in the Japan League. Now they need to show that when the pressure's on, they can deliver against these up-and-coming teams.
The thing about these up-and-coming teams is that I swear they have the most bloodlust in the server out of like anybody, right? Like the teams from Japan League, already scary as it is. Like I'm thinking about like my Okameshes, for example, right? Like not fun stuff. You go up against these unknown quantities where you just don't know how in your face they're going to be, and then you face Nagase and you're like, oh cool, that's not fun. That is not fun. I am dying to a woman with a 1.5x scope. That is swinging my door. So for IGZIST, having to be a little bit more cautious against teams like this and being more unaware of how they play and trying to punish more amateur mistakes that they can make.
I quite like this from Usu. Clearing downstairs. The fact he doesn't have a drone ahead of him really does concern me quite a bit. The bomb site is in the top floor. There are roamers down below. I'm mostly thinking of, I believe that is Salty inside of Reading. There's quite a few attackers here on the ground floor looking to pinch out these defenders.
Yeah, I'm liking this so far from QT. Being able to clear out this second floor has really put Salty in a bit of a trapped position here inside of Reading. If he wants to escape into 90, there's going to be a player coming up the white stairs there to meet him. And not only that, but even a player inside of Mining too. It's also going to enable Akusu, to be able to play the vertical nades, want to be sunk through and try and clear out Salty's position. He's actually wasting a lot of time here, to be honest, Dev.
Oh, he's going to find one. I can just feel it. He finds Nagase. The flash does land on him. The follow-up is indeed there. Unfortunately, Salty going for that vault meant his demise, so the trade does come through.
Nice stuff so far from QT, but the time is ticking away. Perhaps time is the enemy for both of these teams, it seems like, as they haven't really made a lot of headway in through this top floor. Nexus has tried to find some picks on the cocktail, but to no avail, and is now going to try and rendezvous with his teammates over on the Red Hatch instead.
Yeah, this is very scary now for IGZIST. What is the play? And for QT as well, like, it does feel like it's just waiting in anticipation for both teams. Now, QT, of course, have the onus on them to do something. And Akusu moving forward up through Shaiko. And, of course, it's always the Warden 1.5 demons that get the game going. 4v3 now for IGZIST, and another one for Rera. Massive impact on the round here from Bar Stock. It's all on Goki and Nexus. Well, Nexus is taken down. Yet another clutch required from Goki. Found two, lost one. I think he's about to lose another one. Time ticking down. IGZIST getting a little bit hungry. They can feed him a pick or two, but not the second. And so IGZIST do lock in that round on time.
Yeah, nice stuff from IGZIST, just being playing the discipline game through the top floor, allowing QT to waste all their time trying to clear out Sulky from below. Really did not leave them a lot of room to make their way in through that top floor. And, you know, sticking the 1.5x on Rera, it is always the Warden players, isn't it? Wait, once you don't know who to spectate, you watch the, I hate it too, I really do. It just looks so disgusting, you know? Like, when we watch them play and they're doing all their jiggle peeking and they're, oh, yuck, you know? That's not
and PX
cool.
is just too good with the 1.5. It's way too good. It's like, same with the T5 on Oryx, which I think they've said in the designer notes, they're removing it from Oryx, right? The 1.5, but they're not removing it from Warden. Ah.
Actually,
one
filthy.
day.
It's stuff with montages. Well, so look, it is exciting to watch. I'll give you this. It's certainly entertaining to watch from our perspective. But imagine being in the server and you died like a zoop, you know, someone just rounding the corner like that and giving
the
you a
Ferrari
nice,
peak with the 1.5.
Yeah, giving you a Ferrari peak with the 1.5. That's not fun. That is not good.
10 seconds left.
Anyway.
I love that from Marvy. He struggled so much to make the rotate with the bailiff, and he ends up just smashing through it with Oryx anyway. I
Going
feel
into
you, mate.
mining. Yeah, what is this with teams and mining and dining as the bomb site? Why is this one so fashionable? I actually don't know. Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. There's a real aversion to kitchen in this match, which is strange to me because I think Japanese food is some of my favorite cuisine, and yet none of these guys want to go to the kitchen and cook up a round.
Mining and dining, a curious bomb site to go to, but not only did QT do it, who I thought was like, okay, you know, they're bringing along an X Factor, they're an unknown quantity, bringing up an unknown strategy, fair enough, throw off IGZIST, but IGZIST doing it too.
Yeah.
Unexplainable to me so far, but holding out on the top floor seems to be the way. Really quick entry from Nagase, but is immediately met by two mirror windows, so will be stunted, stalled out a little bit inside of the cigar position.
This guy really doesn't care. Just look at the way he plays. He
doesn't
just sends it on through. He's met by two mirror windows, though. I just don't see a way that he survives this. B-Bort is in a pivotal position to make sure that Nagase cannot march up bar.
Yeah, they're doing a really great job to play into the setup that they've made on this top floor. And QT are getting very stalled out here. I think it's going to be up to Nagase to try and find a blind spot through the attack and make the entry work. That's going to be quite challenging. The cacophony of flashbangs is going to help out with that, though, as he's able to clean up the first onto Cocktail, but not before being traded up by Rera.
It's good support from Rera, but Marvy's really feeling that pressure as well. Well played from QT to use those flashes to nullify one position, but they need a little bit more bite than just a one-and-done player. They need something serious here, as there's still quite a few defenders on this top floor.
Yeah, and once again, the clock is really ticking away now, Dev. There's only 1 minute and 15 seconds left, and I think at this point, QT is starting to think that, okay, we probably cannot get top floor control anymore, so let's just focus our attention to the ground floor instead. They've identified that, in fact, the wall going into the mining hallway is soft and there's no lines of sight, so they can actually get control inside of this hallway pretty safely. The only thing they have to worry about is the footsies on the actual site wall, but here we go. This is Akusu who's able to make a big rotation hole into the bomb site. It's about now trying to convert into an execute.
Oh, but there's a player on for a flank here from bottom brown stairs. So they've gone back down again. It is Salty. How much information, I wonder, does IGZIST have on this plant? Because there is potential for Plantinal from below with that impact grenade.
Kusu seems pretty aware that there is a player inside of pillars, although Mavi doesn't seem to be aware that he is there on the other side. Flashbangs to come through to try and aid the execute as Mavi turns his face towards the bomb site. Nice plant spot, but what they've got to worry about is Salty here on the flank.
Salty does have that impact, does get the shot from behind on the red stairs. Now a 2v2 with time ticking away and that diffuser cold on the ground. Akusu is the last one left. A stun to go through. Bit of a wall bang. Knows he's caught in a crossfire. Gonna have to isolate the ones. Does find the first, but does not have the time to find the second or get that diffuser planted. And the tactical timeout seems to be called here by Quintet, forcing them on the back foot once again.
Not a bad idea from Quintet. I liked what they went for when they identified that the wall facing into pillars was not actually open. It meant that the player in pillars couldn't have an impact on them going for a horizontal take, right? Also, I liked the idea that they were going for, right? But not having enough time to actually set up that execute, like for example, they didn't have the flank watch on the ground floor. They didn't have the flank watch established on the floor above them. Really enabled IGZIST to go for that retake through both floors at the same time and collapse in on them as the execute came down. And even though it's not a terrible idea, it just required a little bit more thought to it before they went for it, and IGZIST are able to punish that. Now, it really is going to be the tale of two halves, Steph. Both of these guys struggling on the attack so far. It's small things. It's certainly the small things that are costing them rounds, whether it's not winning out on the entries, or whether it's not quite stringing together a well-put-together execute. Something like that always goes wrong.
You know what really concerns me though, Mandy, for Quintet, is that even though the reading and bar attacks were pretty sketchy for IGZIST, every time we went to mining, it was quite a convincing round on their attack, right? And two of the rounds we saw from Quintet that they won on their defense were 1v2 clutches from Goki. So I'm a little bit concerned now that we've seen mining as a defense from IGZIST, and we saw pretty much nothing from Quintet in response. It came down to a 1v1. It's 2 rounds now that Quintet have lost to the timer. They've taken their tactical timeout, as there's really no choice for IGZIST. They have to go either to reading or to kitchen, and they are going to elect to go reading here. I'm a bit worried here for Quintet. I think that their attacks just don't have as much punch as IGZIST do. Now we're at an even scoreline, and there's a chance for IGZIST to steam ahead.
I think off the back of this tactical timeout, they should change up tempo a little bit, I think, Quintet. They're kind of facing the same problems that existed, where they're sort of taking a bit too long to get things done, and then come the execute, there's just not a lot they can do, I think. And so I think taking their tactical timeout, going into the attack half now, you're even on the man counts, even on the scoreline, I think is a good idea. So yeah, I think that for Quintet, I still think they have a chance in this game, Dev. I know that they don't seem to have as much fight on the attack, but them taking their tactical timeout there would spell a little bit of hope for me. At least I want to be hopeful for them.
Yeah, of course you want to be hopeful. I want to be excited for them. They are the underdogs.
We love an underdog story in Australia.
We do, and
do.
hey, in Japan as well. Why not? Yeah. But I'm just a little bit skeptical, Andy. I think that's the best word I can find for it. As we go here to reading, historically this has been a good bomb site for the defense in this map. Let's see IGZIST. I mean, I love the setup that they've got so far. Quite a bit of trapping in the Frost and the Cap Can, just giving QT more things to worry about.
Trapping.
But furthermore,
love that.
you've also got a lot of info, right? You've got Echo and Valkyrie. And the IQ, which was initially picked by Nagase, has now been switched off. So a little bit less utility on the attack to try and find and counter the information gathering and those Cap Can traps.
Yeah, I don't mind this from IGZIST, what they've gone for. I think it's good fun. Keep in mind, there's Bravo on the other side. Well, Akusu, who can hack quite a lot of that stuff, right? You've got your Valkyrie cameras that can become very vulnerable to that, as well as the Yokais and Catcan traps. So that's not great for IGZIST if they let the clutch drone slide in, and he's actually going to be active on it right now. Curious as to what he's going to be able to find. We'll see what damage he can do.
Oh, Harvey's already done a bit of damage with an aggressive peek. Actually, it was an aggressive angle held by Nexus. It's quite a big one, Mandy, losing your Dockerby. Now, the one thing I had thought, in the absence of IQ, of course, you have the Brava drones, which can be nice for hacking stuff, but also that Dockerby can hack cameras and access the Valkyrie and Echo drones. But now, taken out, no longer available to QT, and they will be relying on this Bravo a little bit. He has hacked something. You can see that little one.
Yeah. So I think the
What
one.
was it?
I think the one doesn't mean you hack like one thing. I think it means you hack one observation tool, yeah? So the one in the black one means one of your own observation tool, and then the one under the black circle is one defender observation tool. So if you hack like a Capcan trap, for example, like that one doesn't come up, yeah? So that means that Akusu actually did hack either a Valkyrie camera or a Yokai, one of them, and it's now being shot up because it's 0. So it's exciting. Info
That is
gone.
cool.
That's very cool.
So there you go, countering some of this util that the defense has brought. As the map control continues to spiral now, QT have got full control of the top floor. They might not know it yet, but all these defenders have fallen off. Even Cocktail is fully clear with a lot of time left on the clock, Mandy, and the ability to vert these bomb sites.
Oh, big pick though from Ant? Brief. Is able to collect the Yokai, the Echo, and he's not going to be able to use those Yokais into the late game since he is dead now. Starting out on the vertical is a good spot here as well for Ant, as he's able to collect the second one onto Marvi, cutting him off inside of that 90 hallway. QT in a really great spot to convert to an execute from here out.
Yeah, this is by far the best looking attack we've seen from them so far. There'll have to be some heroics from IGZIST to bring it back for them. Salty is tempted to go for this flank all the way up red. He sees a drone.
No one was
Don't
on that
think it
drone,
spotted
right?
him.
Yeah.
He does take it down. Rare has actually found a kill or a confirmation. Nakusa is watching for this flank, but gets on his drone at what could be the worst timing possible. Salty's still with flank potential. And Nakusa actually, was that a Yokai that he had available? He's now just put that on site.
Uh-huh.
And there's information now for the attack to convert. 15 seconds and ticking away. It's going to have to be a massive denial here from VBOT, but he gets nice and close and takes down that player with the diffuser. Now, no time to pick it back up. They're going to have to go for kills, and Akusu is trying to force down that diffuser, but there's no time to confirm it. A massive round from VBOT, finding all 3 final kills and keeping the streak alive for IGZIST.
Really nice stuff from VBOT in the late round there. A bit of disconnect as QT tried to go for the execute. They were in such a good position to do it off the back of the vertical, but the heroics of VBOT being able to kill the planter as well as fight the vertical and then be able to collect the hatch drop and the final kill. It was just, he was all around the place taking the gunfights through the late round and is able to claw back around for IGZIST, and now they're ahead in the scoreboard.
For the first time this game, they are indeed ahead. Very exciting. Exciting. IGZIST. The 7-5 is looking quite likely now for you, Mandy. But let's not get too keen just yet. IGZIST are actually going to do the world tour, right? They've played 3 different bomb sites so far, won all 3. Bar, mining, reading, and now we're going down to kitchen and cooking. First time in 10 rounds, Mandy. We're finally seeing it.
Wow. I wonder why. I really do. Oh, 3 Capcan traps. I thought he was going to put a 4th one down. That could have been exciting. I think Capcan's a good one, honestly. I think it's exciting to watch. Like, why not? You know, these teams are both playing really slow on the attack, so do you really have time to drone out the Capcan traps and check every door and corner? Like, probably no, not really, right?
Well,
so,
2 rounds so far, QT have lost to time, so clearly something there
something
don't have a lot of.
They know something. They absolutely know something. Time is the enemy on the attack. Looking for a spawn peak as well. IGZIST, I think, are starting to get the roll on though here on the defense. I think they're starting to find their mojo in this series, and even though QT did take their tactical timeout, it didn't really seem to have a massive impact on their playstyle or their concepts or what they were trying to do. It just maybe felt like a more recomposure type tactical timeout from them. It still feels like they're going for the same concepts.
Well enough, both teams failed to convert their tactical timeout to a round win. See how QT can problem solve this kitchen bomb site. Struggling to take bakery control for now, as the Legion is still living. Aggressive inside of bakery. I like the air jab though. It's going to lock out that small bakery position. We really need to see QT just focus in, taking out Marvi here.
Yeah, so the challenge about doing this bakery push is that because they don't have the range hard breach, they can't open up the wall, the small wall from small bakery that faces behind this cupcake's position. So the entry has got to come through from within the big bakery position. It's quite challenging to just jump through that window because then you're going to die to play in Harry Potter, right? So here it is, the onslaught of the entry to come through. It's Nagase, confident as always. 9-8 on the scoreline for him and is able to collect the first onto Marvi.
Big pick, and now no need to breach as well, as the wall already open. Nagase now going to drone up, see who may be hiding in sight. Salty's got a great position on the red stairs here, though. Deny that plant, should it come through. No impacts in pocket, though, so he's going to have to get up nice, close, and personal to peek that wall. The plant seems imminent here.
He can't get too close to this wall because Vavort is right above him. Who's just made some vertical as well onto this breach position. So, oh, there we go as well. 1.5 times on the Echoes, able to take him down from inside that sink position. It's all starting to fall apart here for QT, not considering the player on the red stairs playing the crossfire in the vertical has really come to their demise.
Getting desperate now. Smokes to try and enable an entry, and Nexus has found one. Is he going to be able to take down these players? Shifty has just been perfect here on the Echo in this long line of sight, protecting his backside as well. Goki now, another attempt at a clutch, and Shifty, a huge round. 3 kills, I believe, as the Echo at the dishes. And he completely washed over that attack. Not really looking great here for Quintet, Mandy.
Yeah, I think cutting too many corners there on the attack. I think just trying to make the execute work from only that bakery side without considering the crossfire that was being held from red or the vertical or even the long line of sight that Sifty had, not aiding the entry with like smokes or flashbangs or anything like that. Just felt like QT tried to brute force their way in off the back of a good entry, and unfortunately as a result are not able to close out that round and get punished by the setup of IGZIST. Now we're in potentially the final round of the series, Dev. It's looking like scary stuff for QT, but it also makes my prediction wrong if they win this one, so...
You just want QT to get one more round and then IGZIST to lock it in. That's what you want. You just want to look like that 300 IQ.
Because I'm never right on the
7-5.
predictions, alright? I don't think you understand. Every time we predict something, I've gotten it wrong throughout this entire year. I swear, I've never been right. I just want to be right for once.
Well, everyone would be right in our predictions panel if IGZIST do take the win here. They were by far the favourite team, and while it did start slow for them, as soon as it switched to their defense, as you said, the tale of two halves. They've won 4 in a row now, and they're going back to mining and fireplace, which was their second choice. Try and polish off this game.
Nice setup though from IGZIST, extending out into the top floor, aided by the castle as well, to try and cut off the potential lines of sight from window repels, just keeping in mind that the white hallway is quite a tricky place to play for defenders. If there are any attackers on those repels, they can be very easily cut off. So nice setup from the castle to be able to aid a very mobile roam here on the top floor. Oops.
Okay, Anne.
That's not the hatch.
The hatch is not there, but okay. Wow, QT in a difficult position now, Mandy, because elimination is just 2 minutes away. They fall to pieces here. If they can't muster an attack, their campaign is done, but they do find the opener. That's a big kill for Akasu. Salty going down is now going to be able to sit on his cams. Really want to see QT convert this. They need to get themselves back into the game. Yet to find an attack round. Yet to find themselves on the scoreboard in the second half.
Yeah, and they've done a great job as well at starting to cut down on the defense of IGZIST too. The Sledge has already taken out, I think it's 3 of the 4 castle barricades, actually 2 of the 4. Since they were on external windows, it's easy for him to get on that rappel and just give it a big old smack and take it down. So these rappels are now open to the attack, and there's not a whole lot left on the side of the defense for IGZIST. You've got Marvi in backstore, who's able to collect a nice one onto Akusu. Good shot. But there's still a little bit more work for the attack to do if they want to sweep through the top floor.
Marvi low HP, and Nagase is always so keen on this entry. Quintet don't seem to have any drones ahead of him, however. Not sure if he's waiting and his teammates are going to be assisting him, or if he's just going to have to back himself in. This clear needs to happen on the top floor. Here comes some vertical game, though. I don't mind that. Perhaps a bit of a bait, some kind of sound cover in the late round. As he rotates all the way down, he's going on a mission, Mandy.
Oh, these guys are considering the horizontal execute as well right now. You can see a big rotation hole made by that Flores drone at the window hop-in, going all the way inside of mining. And they're not actually going to clear up that top floor anymore. They just want to put players there on the rappel to play that flank watch and make sure that there are no defenders that can retake. That being said, here's Rara, shotgun in hand, able to make some lines of sight and really put a stunt to the execute that QT are trying to go for.
Yeah, this attack hinges on the edge of a knife. Nagase, though, going in for this push, does take down Rara. And QT are looking hot on this push, but Shifty might be able to deny it, finds one. but he's all alone now in the 1 versus 3. A nade to cover off his position, and that diffuser to get planted. The cover from Goki is there, and Quintet do not go down without a fight, Mandy. 1 round away from pushing overtime.
Yeah, really good mid-round adaptation there from Quintet to not clear that top floor off the back of losing 2 players and instead try and convert into a horizontal push. They identified the same thing in that, in fact, there was no lines of sight on that hallway going to pillars, and once again were able to use that to their advantage to find a way into the bomb site and get it down. It was really on the onus of Nagase, though, to go deep as the execute was going through, anticipating that IGZIST were going to go for that retake and inject himself in the middle of the defenders, taking gunfights with confidence and conviction. Really shut down the retake that came through, and now we're at 6-5. My prediction, looking pretty good. Just saying, it's looking pretty good.
I kind of want IGZIST to win it from here, just so that you're all happy and feeling fun and dandy.
Yeah.
But I also want to see this go to overtime, Mandy. I feel like QT has shown us a little bit more than we gave them credit for here. I know you did predict the 7-5.
But they could give. I could still be undercrediting them if they go to OT.
Exactly.
This is true. This is true.
Exactly right. And I've seen a lot of nice fire from them. These mid-game calls can be a bit skeptical sometimes, but that round it worked just fine. And I love the goal that they've got. They have so much confidence on these entries. I want to keep seeing Nagase on this entry. I want to keep seeing him looking for these kills and finding these plays.
Yeah, that guy's having fun in the server, I'll tell you what. Warden license on the defense, Ash license on the attack. You're having a good time. That is all I'm saying. You're having fun.
IQ is the new Ash. That commando is an absolute machine. 2 body shot kill if you have the extended barrel on it.
Very nice.
You can also put angled grip on it too, which you can't do on the R4C from Ash.
You can be really fast when you ADS onto people. That's cool. Love that. Oh, IQ as well. He's actually using the gadget too. He's not just walking in with it. That's incredible.
Respect.
Yeah, but there's no Valkyrie. Oh well, it happens. Oh
This
no!
will Maya though. And it is happening once again. The Warden 1.5 demons are ready to go. Raring and ready to go, if you will. As Rara relocates position into the freezer, having found Nexus. Of course, it's the Nomad going down as well. That's a play you definitely do want up. Try and suppress this aggro. Marvy's just calling now for his teammate Salty. Another 1.5x demon, this time on the Mozzie.
Oh, that
just crossed.
Oh, no way. He's going to swing him. Oh, wow. Really aggressive from Salty to take right into the middle of Piano. They don't expect it. And Nagase, the man of confidence himself, has been taken down. Really tough position now for QT, right? That washroom shield is going to be like nigh impossible to clear. You've got Flores to try and get in there, but it's going to be so hard. You can't jump your Flores drone there from the Rooney gate, right? Oh, unless you dead it before you jump in. Anyway, that's too technical. He's going to try anyway, but gets shot out in this position. Really, they don't have enough burn to clear this either, right? There's 2 ADSs and a Rooney gate. You've got to really thread the needle with the Ash charge too to be able to clear out that shield. It's going to be very hard to clear out from QT.
I'm very skeptical, Mandy. I would love to have faith, but I'm very skeptical for Quintet. IGZIST have great positions. They're not getting too antsy. They're not going to feed picks. And does have 2 nades. And might be able to find this player Cocktail. I think he thought he saw his head for just a moment, but a well-cooked nade could also deliver this blow. I don't think this one's going to land, though. It goes over. No damage. And not enough pressure on that position. The second nade to go through or not. Hasn't been thrown as of yet. Z thinks better of it. Ant starts to slip back. Goki on this forefront. It's going to be him and Akasu, but Akasu gets taken down by V-Bot. It's all falling to pieces here at the final hurdle for Quintet. As Rara, vulnerable to some vert, can simply reposition. 20 seconds to go. And once again, Mandy, poor Goki, the last man standing, and he certainly will not clutch for a 3rd time. It's a shutout here and a flawless round on the final round for IGZIST. And the game is done. They will continue within the bracket.
Really clean work from IGZIST as they switched over onto that defending half. It didn't quite feel like you said, unfortunately QT didn't have the same teeth on their attack as IGZIST did, even though it was only 2 rounds, able to clean it up in regulation. I think the expected result